Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, hi, my name is Natasha and it's fantastic to have you here. For today's video, we're going to be discussing a little bit of the full moon that is currently happening in Gemini on December 15th in the Northern Hemisphere, and then we're going to dive into a general tarot reading to see how best to utilize this energy. So do keep in mind that since this is a general reading, take what resonates and know that the message is intended in there for you. So with that being said, let's discuss the full moon. So full moons are all about the end of a cycle. It's also the peak time for harvesting those seeds that you planted in the new moon. You're going to see achievements come through. You're going to see manifestations coming through. You're going to see high emotions and high intuition coming through. So if you are out and about, the people that are not so inclined for astrology or know what's up might have higher, reactivity. So just be aware of that going forward. And then Gemini as a zodiac sign is an air sign ruled by Mercury. Gemini loves information. It's a curious sign. It's highly adaptable, loves knowledge, communication, and social interactions. And then the, kind of shadow side of the Gemini sign is it can lack focus, it can be restless, and it can not care so much if they're not invested. So just keep that in mind too. There might be some of that showing up. And then the Mercury planet is a messenger planet. It is a planet that is, full of fluid energy, again, adaptable, loves communication, inspiration. It's all about your mind, being rational, travel, and creating ideas. So how does this relate to the full moon in Gemini? How does it all fit together? So the energy you can expect is to, be able to communicate, but communicate in a way that is tactful. So what I mean by that is understand that words have consequences, and since emotions are at a high, you have to be kind of tactful with how you say things because, again, people can be reactive. It's kind of like one of those things where you need to stay calm and compassionate. Words have consequences. Take time out to learn something new, to, hyper focus on a new subject, enjoy social activities, and find balance between talking at somebody and then allowing people to actually talk to you and teach you new things. Sometimes we have a proclivity to, when we get excited about a subject, continuously talk at somebody, and we forget that other people can come in and teach us things and want to, word vomit their hyperfixations and their love of a certain topic. So also in the full moon of Gemini, you might receive the answers you've been waiting for. It might be coming in an email, phone call, verbally. But if there's something that you've been waiting on hearing back from, you might be getting it around the full moon, as well as embracing the flow of life here. Sometimes we just need to remember that life is a cycle. It ebbs and flows. So sometimes we're having a bad day. Sometimes we're having a good day. Some days don't work out in the way that we thought that they were going to work out, but it ends up being better for us in the end. So just kind of go with the flow. Remember to speak kind to people, and this also goes for yourself. Speak kind to yourself. Clock those negative thought patterns. Clock what you're thinking about. Do not sit here and talk ill about yourself or self-deprecate, because again, words have consequences. Your mind does not know the difference between you being self-deprecating or actually believing it, okay? So remember to clock that and turn it into a positive statement, okay? All right, so let's move into the tarot reading. We're going to start with the tarot cards, and then we have some confirmation oracle cards that are astrology-based decks. All right, starting with the Capricorn Tarot. The first card is going to represent the overall message on how to utilize this energy of the full moon in Gemini, and we've got 10 of Wands. All right, I can see that. And then we have the advice card on how to move through this, and then another 10 Ten of Cups. Okay, so we really are at the end of a cycle here. So this Ten of Wands is asking us to release our burdens. We need to use this full moon as a time of release, letting go of all of the things that have been weighing on us, have been holding us back. Again, the thought patterns keep coming up here. So a lot of it is, other people's opinions of you and what you do and what you look like. And it's also your opinions of yourself and what your expectations are. So we need to let those go because you're so close to the point. You're so close to getting there and being done with it, but you need to release yourself of all of these burdens. And again, it could be something as simple as, you've just been taking on too much when it comes to your work, your job. That's the same thing. Your work, your social life, your family responsibilities, etc. And then this makes me want to ask you, what are your motivations behind that? Do you really need to take all of that on? Is it to show yourself or other people that you're capable of doing so many things, even though your body says no, your mind says no? What are your motivations for that? Because you can ask for help and you can delegate certain tasks. And another thing that you can do is create boundaries. So there's kind of like a couple different camps here on how to utilize this energy, but the biggest one here is to let go and then create some boundaries. And remember, boundaries are flexible. Like the Gemini sign is very flexible. You can give somebody a boundary, and then if they respect it, you can adjust it later on as you see fit. So boundaries aren't, a cement wall. They're very much a flexible nylon fence sometimes, to where you are in control of how you move those guidelines, right? So practice communicating your boundaries. Again, remember your motivations. What are they for taking on so much? And what are your thought patterns doing to make you want to take on so much? And why aren't you asking for help? Why aren't you delegating tasks? Why are you holding on to this baggage that you have, weighing you down so much? So say no more. And we've been conditioned that no is such a negative word, and no is, weak, or, it's not something that we say. We always have to say no because an excuse, fill in the blank. No is a complete sentence. Nobody can make you do anything, right? You are your own person. You are your own entity. And as long as you are following rules and not getting into legal trouble, no is a complete sentence, right? Especially when it comes to friends and family. You can just say no. You do not need to have a full lengthy excuse. And again, if somebody continues to ask why you say no, or why couldn't you just do this one little thing for me, you are seeing your boundary being pushed already. So that's the reason why you need a boundary. So practice communicating those things and then let it go. And when it comes to people that are always constantly, weighing on you and pushing your boundaries, figure out whether they need to be in your life, if they are necessary to your survival, if they're necessary to your well-being, because sometimes it's time to cut them out. As much as it's a difficult thing to do, sometimes your emotional and mental health require cutting out toxic people. And this is a great time to kind of let all of that come up when the full moon is here, because you can release it, and release it in such a cathartic way. And then with this advice with the Page of Cups, the 10 of Cups, this is all about focusing on the happily ever after part of life. So what does your life look like that is not the 10 of Cups? Because this is all like happily ever after, rainbows and butterflies, happy family, fulfilling life. These cards are drastically different, right? Even though they're the same 10 energy, they're drastically different. So what is keeping you from having this outlook emotionally and physically? And this is all about focusing on gratitude, counting your blessings, and spending time with the ones that you know you love and love you back. unconditionally. So if you do that, you'll start to realize what you really need to let go of. Because again, we're all blessed in one way or another. No matter how small, there's blessings in our lives. And once we focus on the little things that are fantastic and great and wonderful, bigger and better blessings come in. And so that's where the manifesting starts coming in with this full moon. So once you let go and release, then you want to start calling in what you want. Then you want to start being in the present moment of saying, okay, I am abundant. I am so thankful. I'm so grateful for XYZ. However you choose to do your rituals or your manifestations. But this is all about focusing on the gratitude as well as what you want your future to look like. If you're not letting go of the burdens now, it's going to be hard for you to get here. It's going to take you longer to get here. Okay. So these are both 10s, both end of a cycle. This is the time to really let go and release. We're going into 2025. We do not need any of these burdens holding us back anymore. Next up, we have the heavenly bodies. First up, Uranus or Uranus. Radically change. There's some changes that are going to be happening. Confirmation there. Then we've got mutable, Gemini right here. Surrender, fluidity, and welcoming change. Again, this makes me think of like listening and receiving, being open to receiving. And again, this could be asking for help. Remember, like letting yourself be a little vulnerable, surrender to the fact that, yeah, okay, now's the time where I got to let these things go. I got to just go with the flow of life. Next, we've got water, full moon energy here with the spirituality, emotion, intuition, and compassion. So confirmation there. We got Scorpio, more water, intensity, exposing, purging, and renewing. That's what this is all about. Purge and then renew. And then two, every time there is a full moon or a new moon, I always say self-care is a good thing to practice on those times because again, it's about purging and renewing. It could look like meditation. It could look like reading with a glass of wine in a bath, but whatever you feel called to do with that self-care, that's a good thing to do at that time. And your last one from this, we've got air, more Gemini. So open-mindedness, objectivity, and learning. Great time for you to learn a new subject, for you to focus on maybe growing your knowledge for your current career, to let go of maybe some of the other burdens you have, getting creative with how you deal with letting go and how you move forward. Being open-minded is a fantastic way to look at this. All right. Next, we have the Astro codes. First one is Chiron with healing. Yeah. This gives me a lot of healing energy. And I feel like as a collective, we have been headed in that direction for a while now, where we are focusing on healing ourselves and then healing our community. And again, this makes me think of boundaries too, because it's all about, allowing yourself that space and that bubble to heal. Because if you're continuously around people who push your boundaries, who push your buttons, you're continuously having a irregulated nervous system, and that's not providing you a healthy space for you to heal. Healing toxic patterns, negative thoughts, negative habits. This is the time to do so. Next, we have the first house with arrival. So how do you want to show up for yourself? How do you want other people to see and envision you and know about you when you walk into a room and you're meeting somebody for the first time? How do you want them to perceive you? Do you want them to perceive you as somebody who is bogged down, who is stressed, overly, frazzled, or do you want them to perceive you as confident, put together, and creative? Start looking at ways in which that you show up into a room and how that affects everybody else in the room. Does that make sense? So first house is all about, the first perception of you. How do you want to arrive? And then again, we're moving into the new year here. So how do you want to arrive in the new year? How do you want to show up for yourself? How do you want to put yourself first? Then we have the seventh house in relationship. So Same situation. How do you want to be perceived in your relationship? How do you want to go about new relationships and established ones? Are we cutting people out, or are we allowing ourselves to work on those relationships and create those boundaries? Next, we have Aquarius with collaborate. Work together, allow people to help you out, collaborate. And your last one from this is Pluto with rebirth. Again, renewal, rebirth, change. And we have Pluto in Aquarius right now, so it's quite interesting that those two came out together. We are seeing a huge awakening right now as a collective. People who haven't even been tapped into the magical side, the astrology side. We are seeing them wake up right now to even now we're even seeing class consciousness. So how do we want to work together with this energy and rebuild and rebirth the new way of being, right? So we have to start small and then move our way up. So how do you want to start small in awakening you and your relationships moving forward? Okay. Then we've got the Herbal astrology deck. First up, we've got Blue Lotus with intuition. Follow it, allow it to guide you, allow it to help you with your conversations and communicating. Because sometimes, like, you can say something in your head, you're thinking it, and you're like, maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe I shouldn't go about it that way. Maybe I dial it back and change it in a different verbiage or a different tone. Listen to your intuition to guide you on how to go about these changes, how to go about these healing procedures, and how to go about manifesting what you're wanting to call in. Listen to your intuition. I'm telling you, there's something so magical about having that feeling, trusting it, and then it providing you a happy ending. I know all of this is easier said than done, but this is something that we all go through, and a full moon energy is great for just purging all of that, releasing, and then manifesting, bringing in what you want. Next, we've got Valerian with acceptance. So this might come about with radical acceptance for some of you. This might be a time where we just have to accept that certain things have to be done to create those boundaries or to create that release. Accept that sometimes we can't change the people that we want to for the better, and accept that there's only so much that we have control over. So radical acceptance. Then we've got, I can never say this correctly, Amanita with a conduit. So how can you be the conduit to this change, to this release, to this full moon energy? I'll just say, because I don't need to repeat myself completely every single time, but how are you going to be a conduit for this? How are you going to attract and magnify? And last from this deck, we've got Dragon's Blood with Anima Mundi. I believe this is all about, like, rewilding yourself, but let me double check the guidebook. So oneness, merging with the divine, access to the world's soul, occult knowledge, initiation, universal donor, and entry to the great void. So coming together, collaborating, listening to your intuition, and maybe some of you are going to start learning more about, magical or occult things and getting to dive deeper into that, which is fantastic. Full moon energy is great for those magical teachings and learnings and all sorts of things, because again, your intuition is heightened, so you can retain it a lot more, and you can go through intuitively to specific books or websites or whatever you feel drawn to and learn that knowledge. So if you've been wanting to learn tarot for a while and just haven't had the time, maybe the full moon is like, oh yeah, let's get to it. Let's start. Or, scrying or pendulum, or just learning about different goddesses and gods, that sort of a thing. Even the manifesting techniques. Focus on learning something new to help propel you forward. And last but not least, we have the Cosmic Magic Oracle for some self-care tips. Love the back. I think that's gorgeous. Okay, we've got Taurus energy. Love a Taurus energy saver. So allow yourself to have some Venus style energy with, appreciating the pleasures of life. So food, physical sensations, allowing yourself to get dressed up, feeling beautiful, feeling pretty. Taurus energy. I feel like this is a lot of like drinking food, to be honest, but enjoy it. Take yourself out on a nice date for dinner. Then Libra with balance. We were talking about balancing some, how we conversate with people, and also balancing your time because of that 10 of Wands energy. Balance your priorities, figure out what you can leave behind, and balance who you want to prioritize in your life. Then we've got the full moon. Nice. Celebration. Yeah, celebrate yourself. Celebrate your achievements. Celebrate how far you've come and celebrate where you want to go. Be in a fantastic mood to bring in more things that are abundant in blessings. Then we got last quarter with release. I don't need to go any deeper than that because we've already talked about it. More confirmation. Waning, with rest. And again, this makes me think of self-care. So however rest looks like to you, take the time you need to do that. Get an extra hour of sleep in the next day. Sometimes full moon energy can have a hangover the next day. So it is wise to get some sleep if you can. Rest during the day, take a nap, enjoy that Taurus energy. And I just want to point out too that Libra is an air sign. And last, we have series with nurture. Nurture yourself, nurture what you want to bring in, what you want to attract more of, where your attention goes, energy flows. So if you're constantly in a state of worry, in a state of stress, in a state of toxicity, you will find more of that. So we want to curb it when we can, reroute it when we can, and rewire when we can. So nurture what you want to see more of. All right. So hopefully this helped. Hopefully this made sense. Please let me know if it did down in the comment section. If you find these videos helpful, please let me know that too. I know I'm trying to go more live for these specific full moon and new moon energy readings. This particular one and the last couple ones, life is crazy over here for me. So I will be trying to do more of these live and then to go live in general. So I'll keep you updated. I'll always let you know in the community tab ahead of time when that's going to happen so you guys can be aware. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I love you and I like you. If you have not done so already, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell on your way out of this video. That way you will never miss an upload from me. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.